Welcome to Hero Villains. Who do you think would win in Mongul vs Juggernaut when the Cosmic Tyrant faces the unstoppable machine? Mongul is a notorious alien tyrant in the DC universe, the one who turned the planet Warworld into a deadly arena to serve his lust for domination. Born with a superior physique, he possesses physical strength on par with Superman, near invulnerability, and the ability to manipulate advanced war technology. Mongul is not only powerful, but also extremely ruthless and intelligent, often using tactics to overwhelm his opponents. Juggernaut, whose real name is Cain Marko, is the embodiment of pure power in the Marvel Universe. Granted power by the entity Cyttorak, he is nearly impossible to stop once he starts moving. Juggernaut possesses limitless strength, nearly absolute durability, and immunity to most forms of physical attacks. Without needing complex tactics, he is a storm of destruction moving straight forward. When facing Mongul, Juggernaut is the very definition of unstoppable power, a pure force that pushes every strategy to its absolute limit. Before we dive deeper into the analysis, please hit the subscribe button and remember to turn on notifications by clicking the bell icon. Thank you all so much. Mongul MDCCXCI is known as a ruthless tyrant of the Warzone race, one who once held absolute power over Warworld and was also a prominent member of the Sinestro Corps. He is not merely an alien warlord, but also a symbol of conquest and domination, always craving control over everything through overwhelming force. His true origin remains a mystery. He once ruled his own homeworld before a rebellion broke out and overthrew all the power he had built. Exiled from the planet, he did not fall. Instead, he turned humiliation into motivation, forging a burning vow of revenge. That very event seems to have tempered him into becoming far stronger than his kind, possessing extraordinary abilities rarely seen among the Warzone species. From the ashes of defeat, he rose like a storm of destruction, carrying the ambition to darken the entire universe with fear and absolute submission. Mongul is the embodiment of pure strength and merciless brutality. He can tear opponents apart with ease, confront Superman head-on without the slightest hesitation, even survive encounters with Doomsday, and has once defeated a new god. With every return to challenge Superman, his power seems to rise to a new level, making him an increasingly terrifying threat to anyone who dares stand in his way. Mongul also possesses an astonishing healing ability. Although he can be injured by attacks powerful enough to harm him, his body rapidly regenerates, allowing him to continue fighting as if he had never fallen. His speed far exceeds ordinary limits, enough to overwhelm enemies before they can even react. Even more terrifying is his nearly impenetrable durability. Mongul can withstand blows from Superman and Wonder Woman while remaining firmly standing like an unshakable wall in the middle of a chaotic battlefield. Even so, he is not entirely invincible, as sufficiently great sources of power can still inflict severe damage on him. Mongul's eyes are not only for observation, but are also weapons of destruction, capable of firing concentrated energy beams that burn everything in their path. Combined with his superhuman reflexes, he is almost never caught off guard. No matter what direction an attack comes from or at what speed, Mongul can turn the tide in an instant and respond with cold precision. His ability to fly allows him to dominate the battlefield, moving freely through the air like a predator ruling the skies. His astonishing agility makes him even more dangerous. Even when Superman charges at him at tremendous speed, Mongul can still stop the attack in an instant, as if he had already seen every movement beforehand. A terrifying turning point occurred when he was drawn under the influence of paling. After being cast into deep space and falling into the hands of this mysterious cult, Mongul was assimilated, transformed in both nature and power. From that point on, he not only retained his original abilities, but was further enhanced with new and unpredictable powers. In that state, Mongul resembles an entity born from endless darkness, where power and will merge into a living nightmare. His eyes burn like dying stars, and every movement carries a crushing pressure that seems to suffocate space itself. When he appears, the battlefield is no longer merely a place of combat, but transforms into a realm of chaos, where the weak are crushed and only the strong have any chance of survival. Unlike most beings of his kind, Mongul seems to be amplified in every aspect, from physical attributes to energy output. In a direct confrontation, he can easily overwhelm Black Adam through pure strength, and can even withstand the entire defensive system of Warworld alone without showing the slightest hesitation. This proves that he has far surpassed his previous limits, becoming a force that is almost impossible to stop. Mongul also demonstrates the ability to neutralize emotional energy, the core power source of many entities in the universe. Whether it is the energy from power rings or the natural emotions of sentient beings, all of it can be weakened or completely nullified by him. Through paling energy, he can unleash devastating shockwaves that sweep away everything in his path. This same energy also allows him to survive in the harsh vacuum of space, where most life forms could never endure. Mongul can also spread his transformation to others, turning them into followers carrying a terrifying emptiness within. At the same time, he spreads horror by projecting haunting illusions into the minds of his opponents, causing them to collapse from within before being physically defeated. Mongul is no longer merely a tyrant, but has become a symbol of cold destruction. His presence is like an endless void that devours all emotion, where hope is suffocated and fear rises uncontrollably. As he advances, space itself seems to fall into an eerie silence, as though the universe itself is wary of the dark power steadily spreading. I truly hope you will subscribe to the channel. It would help us tremendously, and you are absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. Now let us talk about Juggernaut. Juggernaut, the one known as the Unstoppable, is one of the most terrifying entities ever to exist in the multiverse. He is not merely a warrior, but the embodiment of pure destruction, empowered by the limitless magic of the ancient entity Cyttorak. It is the deep crimson gem of this godlike being that transformed him into a force that is nearly impossible to defeat, granting him immense physical strength and extraordinary endurance. Juggernaut's body is almost completely immune to all physical harm. He does not need food, does not need rest, and does not even need to breathe in order to survive. The helmet he wears protects his mind from all forms of psychic intrusion, while the armor on his body is strong enough to withstand even the most brutal attacks. Even when injured, he can recover at an astonishing speed, as if he had never suffered any damage at all. However, what truly makes Juggernaut a nightmare lies in his signature power. Once he begins to move, he generates an unstoppable momentum. Every step he takes seems to shake the ground, building up an enormous force capable of crushing everything in his path. Once he charges forward, there is almost no way to stop him through physical strength alone, and even the mightiest beings on Earth can do nothing but watch that fury come toward them. The moment Juggernaut accelerates, space itself seems to warp under the immense pressure he creates. The sound of impact erupts like thunder, carrying clouds of dust and flying debris in every direction. His presence turns the battlefield into a living nightmare, where all hope is crushed beneath each unstoppable step. Juggernaut's power does not follow the normal laws of matter. Thanks to the magical power of Cyttorak's gem, he is nearly impossible to defeat through purely physical attacks. Even the strongest heroes on Earth have poured all their strength into bringing him down through brute force, yet all have failed. Juggernaut can stand equal to, and even surpass, symbols of strength such as Hulk. Every feat that Hulk has ever displayed, he is capable of replicating, and in many cases, pushing even further. What makes this truly terrifying is that his limit is almost impossible to determine, because that strength does not come from a finite body, but is sustained by an endless magical energy source from Cyttorak. There are no barriers and no stopping point. Juggernaut can continuously amplify his own power at will, turning every punch into a true seismic event. When he fights, it feels as if the entire world is bearing the weight of an ancient and immovable force. Juggernaut has always proven why he is considered the unstoppable nightmare. When he clashed with Green Scar Hulk, the version regarded as the peak of Hulk's power, he was not merely equal, but completely dominant. Juggernaut's punches struck hard enough to leave Hulk dazed, even nearly unconscious. He stomped on his opponent and shattered every restraint with a single cold headbutt. Even Hulk, the very symbol of unmatched physical strength, could be beaten to the point of bleeding and forced to retreat by teleporting away from the battlefield rather than continuing the fight. And Hulk is not the only example. Juggernaut has once defeated an entity whose power rivaled Galactus with a single punch. He overwhelmed Scar, Hulk's son, in only a few brief blows. Even Thor, the legendary god of thunder, was easily overpowered and nearly killed as Juggernaut crushed him within his devastating grip. The peak of Juggernaut's power is shown most clearly when he reaches his Tryon state. In this form, his strength is no longer bound by ordinary limits. Directly empowered by the might of Cyttorak, he becomes a machine of destruction on a cosmic scale. Juggernaut can pierce through dimensions with his own body, tearing apart the fabric of space and time as though it were nothing more than a fragile shell. When Tryon Juggernaut appears, every concept of combat seems to collapse. Space trembles, reality itself becomes distorted, and those who stand against him can only feel how insignificant they are before a force beyond comprehension. Juggernaut is not only famous for his offensive power, but he also terrifies the entire universe with his incredible durability. When facing the optic energy beam from Cyclops, a blast capable of wiping out a small planet in an instant, he remains standing as if completely unaffected. After taking the full impact of the attack, he even laughs, as though he had just experienced nothing more than a harmless touch. He has also taken a direct strike from Mjolnir wielded by Thor. The power of the legendary hammer is enough to flatten a battlefield. Yet to Juggernaut, it is merely an insignificant collision. Even when facing entities with power on the level of Galactus or the Celestials, he is still able to endure enormous waves of energy without the slightest sign of faltering, standing there like an unchanging wall in the middle of a storm of destruction. Even so, Juggernaut is not completely immune to everything. Magical forces can still injure him, but even when wounded, his healing ability works so quickly that it is almost impossible to notice. Even Onslaught once admitted that destroying Juggernaut while he was still empowered by the mystical gem was nearly impossible. Juggernaut has proven his ability to survive reality distortion and far worse without dying. Even after Despair was elevated to a cosmic reality warping level by stealing Cyttorak's power from Juggernaut, he still could not kill Juggernaut after reducing him to a skeleton with his newly gained reality-bending power. Juggernaut still could not be stopped. He has also demonstrated the ability to survive reality distortion and molecular disintegration without suffering any lasting consequences, recovering in a very short period of time. His healing factor can absolutely be compared to that of Wolverine and Hulk. His regenerative ability is no joke and easily ranks among the most effective healing powers in existence. Even Oblivion could not erase Juggernaut from existence within his own realm, and ultimately release Juggernaut in exchange for his mystical power. Juggernaut truly is unstoppable, even to beings on the level of Oblivion. Juggernaut has also shown an extremely high resistance to existence erasure. As long as he remains linked to Cyttorak and the Gem, he is nearly impossible to defeat, and even Onslaught has confirmed this. The confrontation between Mongul and Juggernaut is a clash of two completely different kinds of power. On one side is a flexible and intelligent warrior who controls the battlefield through speed and strategy. On the other is the embodiment of pure power, unstoppable once he begins moving forward. Mongul holds a clear advantage in speed and agility. He can move quickly, react with precision, and launch long-range attacks through energy beams or devastating power from a safe distance. Not only that, his strategic mindset allows him to control the battlefield, using technology and teleportation abilities to create an advantage. In the opening moments of the fight, Mongul can dominate, inflict damage, and may even knock his opponent down several times. However, Juggernaut is an entirely different matter. Once he starts moving, the momentum he builds is nearly impossible to stop. His natural defenses combined with an extremely rapid healing factor make all damage seem meaningless. He not only endures attacks of tremendous magnitude, but he also shows no signs of weakening over time. While Mongul must calculate and constantly adjust his strategy, Juggernaut only needs to move forward and destroy everything in front of him. The battle usually begins with the advantage leaning toward Mongul. He launches continuous attacks, using his speed to maintain distance and apply pressure. But Juggernaut will rise after every knockdown, almost immediately. Then comes the decisive moment, when he has built enough momentum. At that point, every attempt to stop him becomes useless. Mongul may be able to evade for a short time, and may even push him back temporarily, but he cannot completely halt the wave of power charging toward him. As the battle drags on, the balance gradually shifts entirely in Juggernaut's favor. His limitless endurance erodes every one of Mongul's early advantages. In the end, all it takes is one direct collision for Juggernaut to crush his opponent with overwhelming power and irresistible momentum. Mongul only has a chance to win if he uses cunning and ends the fight very quickly through superior tactics. But if the battle turns into a prolonged confrontation, Juggernaut is almost certainly the one who will be left standing in the end. Juggernaut's durability is completely superior. He has tanked attacks from Hulk and Thor without tiring. Juggernaut is stronger and would win 7 to 8 times out of 10. I hope you enjoyed this battle. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section. Be sure to follow me if you enjoyed it. That is today's video. Thank you very much.